Greetings, Algo artisans. Today we're going to take a break from crypto and talk about something crypto adjacent. That's NVIDIA. We're going to take a look at the charts, the new Blackwell chip coming out, and how this might affect GPU crypto mining. And we're going to talk about it right now. Okay, just a little fun being had. I remember there was some issues with Cyberpunk when it came out. I didn't play it. I actually used to be a massive gamer. I don't have time for games, which is why I do not play them, because I love them. And apparently the graphics chip at the time was having a hard time keeping up. And I don't think we're going to see that problem right now, though. The new Blackwell chip seems to be very impressive. We're going to take a look at some of the basic specs. I'm not a tech guy. But before we get there, we're going to take a look right here at the charts for NVIDIA. Okay, so this is a weekly chart. NVIDIA is an absolute monster. It's up times 8 from its 2022 lows. So it was around $100. It was actually, $105. Topped out at about $970, currently at $884. So a nice times 8 and then some. And if, of course, you bought it back in 2019, it was sitting at $25 and you're basically rich. So this chart here is as bullish as they come. I mean, the algos don't say anything except for bullish on even the medium time frame. So there might be some pullbacks. Clearly there have been a couple, and we can use those pullbacks for our Fibonacci extensions. However, at the very moment, I'm not seeing enough on the chart to truly bet on a Fibonacci extension, right? I want a little bit more of a pullback. I like to see pullbacks to the 382 fib in order to say, okay, let's use these Fibonacci numbers, right? What's interesting though is that we just had this Blackwell chip come out. And we're going to look at some videos regarding that shortly. But as the chip came out, price is actually heading down. So this might be one of your typical sell the news events. And if that happens, we could see price just dip, not even all the way to the 382, maybe almost there, and then just head back up after that. Or another thing it could do instead of heading up might be to consolidate for a little while and then head up. There's a whole host of things it could do. But given what I think is going to happen in the market this year and what's happening with the AI space, which really the AI space is crushing NVIDIA upwards, right? Given all that, I don't think we're going to see much of a pullback outside of some kind of traditional finance shock. For example, today is the FOMC. It's in about 1 hour, and Jerome Powell is going to talk about the interest rates. Everybody's expecting him to pause. We'll probably cover that tomorrow's video. But for today, I don't expect any hike or drop in the rates. If there is a big surprise, though, NVIDIA could, and every other stock in the world could take a hard hit. But you're talking about a 50% fall for NVIDIA to come down to maybe this prior liquidity zone right there. And I just don't expect to see that. Even with a strong shock, I don't really expect to see it. It would have to be a very strong shock for me to see NVIDIA crash down and grab liquidity around this kind of 500 zone. But it could, maybe dip down to the 618, which is at $660 or so. And it could just continue up. And to these higher targets. What are the higher targets? From the current price, you're looking at about a 30% and maybe a 45% move. So maybe about 1100 and 1275. Those are the kind of the basic numbers I would look at if we were to see this extension play out. But I'm going to look on a lower time frame. I'm going to see if we can get some closer targets based on some Fibonacci moves here. So, all right, so here we are on the daily, and let's take a look at the most recent pullback and move up. And that would be an extension as such. And the Fibonacci extension targets on this daily chart would be the lower target sitting at about $1,030 and that higher target sitting right at 1100. Okay, so 1100 has come up twice now. It's a near-term Fibonacci extension to the 618, and it's a higher time frame Fibonacci extension to the 272. So I would have my eye on 1100 if I were trading and not buying and holding. If I were simply trading NVIDIA and I was confident that it was time for NVIDIA to go up, I probably would buy some and then take my money out before it hit 1100, maybe around 1090, because everybody else is going to be looking at 1100 and probably have a target there. Now, it could easily rocket past that. What's going on in this space is that AI, which is basically higher level computing, I mean, it's not sentient, it's not alive as far as I can tell. It just seems like higher level programming, and a lot of it requires graphics processing units. I mean, there's AI that creates pictures for you and creates all kinds of stuff, and these graphics processors units, GPUs, are what are necessary for this space to continue. And of course, companies are adopting, but really using AI. A lot of workers are being replaced with AI, which is going to, of course, increase productivity of a company. May not be that great for the economy, but that's a whole philosophical argument that could go both ways, and we're not going to get into that. What we are going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and be very comfortable projecting that the use of AI is going to continue to rise. With it will rise the demand for these GPUs, and NVIDIA seems to be in the best place. So let's go ahead and take a look at some video footage from NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang at the GTC 2024 DevCon.
Blackwell is not a chip. Blackwell is the name of a platform. This is the most advanced GPU in the world in production today. This is Hopper. This is Blackwell. 208 billion transistors. There's a small line between two dies. The two dies think it's one chip. There's 10 terabytes of data between it. 10 terabytes per second. So that these two sides of the Blackwell chip have no clue which side they're on. There's no memory locality issues, no cache issues. It's just one giant chip.
And this is really cool stuff. So what we're going to do is also take a look at Red Panda Mining's YouTube video here. He's going to talk about what he thinks the chip is worth, how fast he thinks it's going to be, and compares it to some of the chips that are out today, so we can have an idea of what it might do as far as crypto mining, specifically GPU mining. Here we go.
You know how much this, dude, how much are the A100s? Actually, I was checking on Alibaba. 16 to 20 grand for these things. I'm assuming this is going to be like 100 grand for mining. What do you guys think this could do in terms of like hash rate? This thing's going to do like 200 mega hash. 200. I'm going to say my random guess right now, this is going to do like at least 200 mega hash mining like Ethereum Classic. 200. That's my guess.
So basically watch him speculate on the hash rate and the price point being about, say, 5 times what the current standard is worth, and the hash rate being maybe 30% to 50% higher. It's a kind of an idea where we can place this new tech as far as its capabilities and as far as where it fits financially into a mining operation. I hope that was helpful. I hope that this information gives you an idea of what might happen here. Obviously, you can do some comparisons, between the older chips, newer chips, what it might be worth, what it might be able to do. And the key here is that we might actually see a decrease in the cost of energy, right? So if you see here, powering a new era of computing, this is right off the NVIDIA website talking about Blackwell. And it says that enabling organizations everywhere to build and run real-time generative AI on trillion parameter large language models up to 25 less cost and energy consumption than its predecessor. Okay, so, we do have obviously the consideration of maybe 30 to 50% more powerful as per Red Panda, right? As far as hash rate on certain cryptos. And this is a basic estimation, but I figured those guys would have a real good idea of how the hash rate and the power of the chip might be compared to its competitor. That's why I went ahead and looked them up. But then you got a lot less cost in energy consumption, and that's humongous. One of the primary outputs to server farms is energy consumption and keeping, quite frankly, the temperature low. These server farms heat up, and so they got to use a lot of air conditioning and ventilation and the water cooling and all that, and that costs a lot of money. So I think like 30% of your server farm cost has to do with temperature control. And of course, energy usage and consumption is a direct input to temperature control as far as costs are concerned. So if we are in fact seeing 25% or 25 times less cost in energy consumption, that's going to be a humongous savings. Of course, we have that estimation of the newer chips being maybe 100 grand as compared to, its recent iteration, the A1. So, we'll see how this all plays out. But I would say that even though these chips are quite a bit more, if you think about it, let's just say it's 1/3 of the price of running a server farm is going to be energy, right? Well, that adds up over time. So even though these chips are going to be 2 or 3 times as much, the amount of money spent on energy being such a high input is going to pay for itself in a matter of a few years, if not less. Very interesting stuff. Again, what's most useful to me is the chart and the potential targets. And for a near term, I like 1100. But really, NVIDIA, with the world that it is right now, buying and holding is just not such a bad idea. That's just what I think on it. So we don't give investment advice, but what we do is we help people learn how to build their own trading method, their own trading algorithms. We help you learn how to extract money from the market, whether you want to try to do that on the daily, weekly, or monthly we help people learn how to become financially more self-sufficient and possibly independent. All right, so come on over to algofactory.tech. Remember to trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you on the next one.